Hey, it's Catherine with Mom Talk Educate. I'm happy to do another video for you guys. I've had a lot of requests on YouTube to show my setups as well as my lighting tutorials and some different poses. So today we're actually going to be doing a lighting tutorial, and I'm also going to show you how I set up my dog bed with the PVC frame as well as doing the prop setups as well. Okay, so first things first is I have my light here. This is the Einstein, and I have a prop set up ready to go for the beanbag, or not beanbag, sorry, potato pose. So inside, it's because it's quite a flimsy basket, I have a weight, and it would be better if I had a flat disc weight, but I just haven't got around to getting one. I have a posing bean because I'm sort of making a tower for the baby to rest against. And then I'm going to cover that up with some burlap and then a soft knitted layer. And I'm going to have it just laying loosely over top. And then when the baby comes in, I am going to wrap him in the potato sack pose. So when he gets here, I'll go into a more in-depth lighting tutorial as to how to light his face. So this is my Einstein. I'm going to turn the power on, and as you can see, do you see how tilted my Einstein is? It's not a 90-degree, it's definitely tilted on a 45-degree angle. So I'm going to turn the power on, and my unit, I'm going to make sure that my unit is all the way, see, it's -8, it's at the lowest power. And if you're using an Einstein and you're using your triggers and your triggers start misfiring, crank up your Einstein to full power, shoot off about 20 shots, and then bring it back down to low power, and that should release or reset your triggers. So this is my cactus triggers. The trigger that is attached to the Einstein is going to be on RX for receiving. And then I am going to put a trigger on top of my camera body, and this is the other cactus. These come in a box of 2, and you have to have it on the same channel. So this is on channel 1 and this is on channel 1 as well. So that's the way that they communicate with each other. And then the one that goes on top of my camera is going to be on TX. So that is transmitting, and this one is receiving. So now I'm going to shut my overhead light off because you never want to have 2 lights that are competing with one another, and it would be such a nightmare to try and edit any of your images. So I'm going to shut off my overhead lights. And the thing about doing newborn photography is that you always want to have only one light source. You never want to have more than one. So a lot of people wonder, well, I can only afford to buy one light setup. That's all you need. And as long as you have the right diffuser, then your light is going to be soft and subtle and more natural looking. So now I am going to pull my light close to where my prop and my baby are going to be. And the reason why is because the closer the light is to the subject, the softer it will be. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up my custom white balance. So I don't have a gray card, I just use the gray portion of my reflector case. So I'm going to put it right where my subject is, and my settings are going to be how I would be using for my first images. So my f-stop is 2.8, my ISO is going to be down to 125, and my shutter speed is going to be at 160. So I am going to fill my frame with the gray card. And can I get you to get a shot of what my camera looks like? So as you can see, the entire frame is filled with the gray. So now I'm going to go to menu, and I'm going to go to custom white balance. But first I have to change the white balance and make sure that it is on custom white balance. You don't want it to be on auto white balance or Kelvin, you want it to be on custom. So I'm going to set it, and then I'm going to go down to custom white balance, press OK, and now my white balance is set. It's that simple. And so now I'm going to take a shot of my image. And I'm actually going to see how dark it is. So I'm going to press the play button, look at it, and then press the info button. And I am, as you can see, the image, all of the light is, or all the lines are closer to the left side, which means that it's quite underexposed. So I'm actually going to bring my f-stop down to 2.5 and my ISO up to 200. And I'm going to take the shot again. And that's a little bit better, but it also, you have to take into consideration the setup that you're doing. And if you press info one more time, it's going to show you the RGB. And when you look at the reds, you want it to be closer to the right side. You don't want it to be blown out, but you do want the highlights to come closer to here with your histogram. So I'm going to adjust it one more time, and I'm going to up my power just a little bit. And that should help. And it did bring the line almost to that line right here. So because this is a dark wood setup, it is automatically going to be a darker image. So if you feel that it's still too dark, then you can bring your ISO up. So I'm going to bring it up to 250. Now you can see the difference. You can see how the red has come almost all the way to the far right side. So that shows that it's a proper exposure. Okay, and one of the best things to do when you're photographing a newborn is start off with the correct settings. So if you start off with a properly exposed image and a proper custom light balance, when you take it into Photoshop or Lightroom or ACR, you're going to have a heck of a better time editing your images because you have the proper image to start with. Okay, so I am going to do my setup for the beanbag portion, which is my dog bed. I got rid of my beanbag because my beanbag was giving me a lot of back pain, because with a beanbag, as you know, unless you're sitting on a stool, a lot of the times you're hovered over like this. And so when you're in a position like this, if you don't already have back problems, you'll probably get back problems. So this is a great tool because you can sit on the floor after you've set up. So the best way to layer your dog bed is with multiple thick layers. So I am going to spread my fabric, and I am going to double layer it. So I'll fold it in half. And you always want to be aware that you don't have any wrinkles. So really, really be conscious of that, because it sucks to edit wrinkles out of Photoshop. So I'm going to grab one more layer, a thicker layer. You always want to have a matching color tone to be the layer that goes right under the layer you're going to be using as the top fabric, because you don't want to have any kind of weird colors underneath. So as an example, the top layer of fabric I'm going to be using is cream, so I wouldn't want to put a blue fabric or a red or yellow or any kind of color. You want to have a neutral fabric underneath. Okay. So the great thing about this dog bed is the fact that it's got a frame built in, so you don't have to buy another frame. You don't have to spend all that money on a Paloma shell. You just use the frame that's a part of it. So I'm going to clip my corners in first. Okay. I'm going to use my big clips in the very back. And so this is just a very simple frame. It's not attached to anything. I can slide it forward and backwards. And that's the great beauty of it, is that when I'm finished, I can literally shove this thing against the wall and it's not in my way. So if you have a very small studio space, like I do, this is a great space saver. Okay, that's not as tight as I want it to be. Pull it. Okay, so you want it to be super tight because the more seamless the fabric is, the more seamless your image will be. And then I'm gonna have a clip here. And then I am going to have my clip here. And I'm going to tighten the fabric as I pose him. And I'm gonna actually take this little clip here to pin my bottom fabric onto the frame, just so that when I put my posing beans on here, this fabric stays put. And then I can put my posing beans here and move the fabric as I need to. Okay, so our baby model is going to be here soon, and I'm going to show you how to do a few different poses on the dog bed and how to light them properly. Thanks so much for tuning into this video. Please subscribe to my channel and watch the next video on how to light your newborn images.